Okay, today we're going to figure out stair stringers. Alright, so some of the information you need to know. Maximum riser height cannot exceed 7 3/4 inches. The minimum tread cannot be smaller than 10 inches. The minimum stair width, that's side to side, has to be at least 36 inches clear. The nosing, if you have a riser, has to be between 3/4 of an inch and 1 1/4 of an inch maximum. The optimum angle of a staircase, which is considered the most comfortable to walk up for most people, is going to be between 30 and 35 degrees. Sometimes it's called the preferred angle. Okay, so today for these calculations I'm going to be using this TI-30XA calculator. You can pick it up at Walmart for like $9, so it's nice and cheap. It got all the buttons that you need for figuring out stairs. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get our total rise. Now, to get our total rise, all we have to do is measure from the top of this floor to the top of this floor. And let's say for this example it's 8 feet 11 and a half inches. If I convert that into inches, I'm going to get 107 and a half inches for my total rise. Okay, so we're going to put that up here, 107 and 1/2 inch total rise. Now, step number 2, we're going to figure out the number of risers. So we're going to take that 107 and a half and we're going to divide by 7. 7's a nice round number. It's right there where you want your step height to be. So we're going to use 107 and a half. So in my calculator, I'm going to put in 107 and then there's an ABC button. 1 ABC 2 divided by 7 equals. So 107 ABC 1 ABC 2 divided by 7 equals 15 5/14. Okay? Now, if you're going to use this ABC button in your calculator, this number has to be in inches. Okay? Feet will not work. I can't put this number in there. It has to be in inches. So this will be the first number, this will be the second number, and the bottom denominator will be the third number. Okay, so I've got 15 and 5/14. So you say, well, that's 5/14. Well, that's really not important what the fraction is. It just tells me that I don't have an even number and I need an even number. So next thing I'm going to find out is my riser height. So I'm going to take 107 and a half and I'm going to divide by this number. All right, I'm going to round this number up and I'm going to round this number down. So I'm going to round it up to 16 and I'm going to round it down to 15. So divided by 16, then I'm going to take 107 and a half divided by 15 to figure out which one is the best for my riser height. So again, 107 ABC 1 ABC 2 divided by 16 equals 6 and 23/32. Then I'm going to take the second one. 107 ABC 1 ABC 2 divided by 15 equals 7 and 1/6. Okay, these are both in inches. Now, which one am I going to use? I want to use the one that is closest to 7. All right, so if we look at these, we can tell that 7 and a 6 is closer to 7 than 6 and 23/32. Okay, so we're going to use 7 and 1/6 inches. All right, now we got to convert that into a fraction that you can use on your tape measure. So we would convert that 1 divided by 6.16. 0.17 rounded up times 16 is 2.72, so 7 and about 3/16 of an inch. So 3 divided by 16 would be 0.1875. 1 divided by 6 would be 0.1667, so they're close, within a couple hundredths of an inch. So our riser height will be 7 and 3/16 of an inch. All right, next thing we're going to figure out is what is our total run. Our total run is the distance from here to here. All right, so for the total run, we're going to take 10.5 inches. The reason I use 10.5 is that a lot of times I'll use a 2x12 as a tread. So if you put a riser, you can get 3 inches, 3/4 of an inch for a riser. You have 3/4 of an inch of nosing, and it just works out good if you use 10.5. So I'm going to take 10.5. Now, I've got 15 risers. So if I count these 1, 2, 3, there'll be 15. Now, the way you attach your steps, that means that there's going to be one fewer treads because the last tread is the floor up here. So I'm going to use 14 for my number of treads. So 10.5 times 14 gives me 147 inches. So this distance from here is 147 inches. Now, we need to figure out what length of stringer to buy. So that's our next step. What is our stringer length? Okay, we're going to use the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what does this mean? This is our A side, this is our B side, or they could be flopped around, it doesn't matter. This could be A, this is B, so you can put either one and it doesn't matter. So A, we're going to use A is this, so 107.5 squared plus this number, 147 squared, equals, then we're going to hit the square root button. Okay? So in your calculator, you're going to put 107.5. You're going to hit the x to the 2 button plus 147 x to the 2 equals square root. So 107.5 squared plus 147 squared equals square root 182.11 inches. Okay, so now they come in 2 feet increments, so we need to convert this into feet. So we're just going to divide by 12. Divided by 12 gives us 15.18 feet. Since our boards will come in 2 foot increments, we'll buy a 16-foot board for our stringer. All right. So we have our riser height, we have our tread width, We have our stringer length. Now we have to find, does our staircase fall in this comfortable zone between 30 and 35 degrees? All right, for this one, we're going to use the equation. This is the opposite side. I want this angle right here, so this is the opposite side of that angle. And this one adjacent, meaning next to this angle. So I'm going to use the equation opposite over adjacent. And since I want an angle, I have to hit the tangent -1 button. All right, so we have our equation opposite over adjacent equals tangent -1 or inverse tangent. So we have to figure out what numbers are we going to use. All right, so we're going to use this number here and this number here. Okay, if I draw a little triangle for your stairs, you have 10.5 here, and you have the 7 and 3/16 here. So I'm going to find this angle, which will be equivalent to that angle right there. So in my equation, I'm going to put 7 and 3/16 divided by 10.5 inverse tangent. So it'll be 7 and 3/16 divided by 10.5 inverse tangent. So 7 ABC 3 ABC 16 divided by 10.5 equals shift tangent. And you get 34.39 degrees. So this angle is 34.39 degrees, which does fall within our optimum angle, our comfortable preferred angle for our staircase. All right, so last thing we need to figure out then is our stairwell minimum opening, which is the distance from this line right here, which is parallel to this line. This line runs along the nosing of the staircase, and this one is parallel to it at a distance of 80 inches. That's the headroom right there. So we're trying to find the stairwell opening from the end of this opening to the line that runs across the nosing. So we're going to use the same equation that we used in the previous equation. So opposite over adjacent, inverse tangent. Okay? So since this angle and this angle are the same, if you know your geometry, so this angle is 34.39 degrees, then this will be our opposite side and this will be our adjacent side. So we have 80 over x equals 34.39 degrees tangent. So into your calculator you'll put 80 divided by 34.39 tangent equals, and it will give us the length of that opening. 80 divided by 34.39 tangent equals, and we get 116.88 inches. Okay? So 116.88 inches. Now, that only takes us to this green line that runs across the nosing. We still have to add the width of a tread. And since it doesn't attach or run right up against this other stair, we're going to add a little bit. the extra couple of inches. So our tread was 10.5, and let's say we're going to add another 2.5 inches, so we're going to add a total of 13 inches. 129.88 inches. So the stairwell opening has to be a minimum of 129.88 inches in order to fit a staircase that has a 7 3/16 rise with a 10.5 inch tread. Okay? Now, if you are in a remodel job and you don't have 129.88, then what you'll need to do is you'll need to push the bottom of the staircase in, make it a little bit steeper, reduce the size of your tread so that you will still get an staircase that fits. As long as it meets these two requirements for risers and treads, it's still a good staircase.